Hey guys, welcome to the second vlog for the KC Experience. I'm Kia Glenn, aka Kyrie Angel 13, and today I'm here by myself because Claude is on Christmas vacation. But that's okay because he doesn't know anything about the topic that I'm going to discuss today, which is my favorite video game console of all time, the Nintendo 64. The Nintendo 64 was really popular in the 90s. I was born in 1992, so other than the Sega Genesis, it was pretty much the first video gaming system that I was introduced to. Here's my controller. Still, it's a little wrapped up. I know they say you're not supposed to wrap the controllers up, but I do anyways. But controller was very simple. You had your joystick that was involved for all movements, start button for pause, A was usually your action button, B was also an action button as well. And you had your yellow side buttons, and you also had the thumb pad, and depending on the game, they both do different things. And there was also a Z button, which is trigger for most shooting games you shoot. Aside from that, you have a slot in the back where you would slide your memory card, which didn't hold data very well. It usually like fried and everything. And you could also insert a rumble pack, which was really useful. Sometimes it would reveal secrets depending on the game and things like that. But enough about what the Nintendo 64's controller is and what the actual system is. We're going to discuss today's topic, which is my top 20. My top 20, okay? Not yours, mine. Top 20 favorite Nintendo 64 games of all time. So, if any of you happen to agree with me, let me know in the comments below, or if you think I missed something, also feel free to do that too, you know? Okay, so the first game on my list is Mario Golf. That's number 20. Mario Golf was very, very fun for me as a kid. I mean, it was really simple. You had to hit A again, and then hit A while it was on this little red line, and that is all you had to do to golf pretty much. But the trick was you had a medium shot, a long shot, and a short shot, and there was also the same as like medium, long, and short strokes. And there was also an approach shot that was only used when you were near the green, near the pin. And that game was really hard, especially when you're like actually on the green and you have to get it into the hole, and sometimes you hit it too soft or too hard and it would bounce out of the hole in the middle. But Mario Golf was fun. It had all your classic Mario characters like Princess Peach, Luigi, Mario. Of course they had other, Yoshi, Bowser, Wario, and they even had new characters that I really didn't play with. I played with Plum. That's about it, but yeah, Mario Golf. Number 19 on my list is Let's Get Ready to Rumble Boxing. That game is fun. I'm like dead serious. Like, it was really simple. You use the yellow buttons to fight and you move, but the characters were really fun. Like you had Butcher Brown, and Afro Thunder, and Lily Valentine, Lane Strike, and they also released Let's Get Ready to Rumble for the original PlayStation, but I like the 64's version better. I like the music, the theme song, which is playing in the background right now. Let's Get Ready to Rumble was a really, really fun game. And, you know, it's one of my favorites. I mean, it's not at the top of my list, but, you know, 19, it's not too bad. Number 18 on my list is Xena, Warrior Princess, Talisman of Fate. That game was really, really fun. It was a combat game for the Nintendo 64, which was different because the only other one that I can think of is Mortal Kombat or Killer Instinct. Those are like the only other fighting games, but Xena was a fighting game as well. You used characters from the Xena show like Xena, Gabrielle, Joxer, Caesar, Ares, Lauma, all these different characters. And it was fun. You got these little fighting stage arenas and you can hop off the walls, and moves were kind of complicated. Like you'd have to take the stick and be like left, right, yellow button, and me and my sister would always say left, right, ding, and that's how we would remember how to do moves. And depending on the character, they do crazy stuff. Like Xena throws her little, whatever that thing is called from the show, her little circle thing, and throws that. Gabrielle can float in the air with her stick and throw musical notes at her opponent. And Caesar was annoying. He had this stupid move where he'd raise his arms and you hear the crowd go, Caesar, Caesar, and the cheer is so loud that it knocks all the other players on the ground. Callisto can raise fire. from the middle of the ground, but they make it obvious where the fire is going to come from. Like a little red spot is there, so then your opponents see it and they jump out of the way. But Xena was a fun game, and oh, you cannot forget about the boss. When you play one player and you try to win the Talisman of Fate, which is this world, you have to beat Despair. And he kind of now makes me think of Jinpachi from Tekken 5, but Despair was just this big demonic monster who could throw fire and smash his face against yours, and depending on the difficulty level, he was a really tough opponent to beat, and you know, I couldn't stand him. But Xena was a really fun game. Number 17 on my list is Bomberman 64. Bomberman was fun. I didn't really play it so much for adventure mode. I usually played it for multiplayer mode. That's like my favorite. And it's because you have your 4 little Bombermen and you can throw bombs. Then there's special little power-ups on whatever map you're on, and you run around and you can get red bombs, which have bigger explosions. There's the skull heads, and they do crazy things to you. Like sometimes you shrink, sometimes you're huge with a big head, sometimes you're on fire and you run around and catch the other players on fire. And when you would die at some point on the level, then your character would come back as a ghost, and you could try to get other players to commit suicide by latching onto their back and controlling where they run, and it's really funny. I think my favorite part is when you reach the 1 minute limit and that lady says, "Hurry up!" and then all this bad stuff starts happening on the level. Like the water rises, there's a level where the walls close in, and my favorite is when the meteors fall from the sky. But sometimes me and my cousins would play and we would purposely set it to 1 minute so all the bad stuff would immediately happen and make it like a death match. And it was really, really fun. So yeah, Bomberman is definitely one of my favorites. Number 16 on my list is Diddy Kong Racing. Diddy Kong Racing was fun. And I didn't like it as much as Mario Kart, but it's definitely one of my favorite games simply because of the fact that there's all kinds of levels. Adventure mode is definitely the best part. There's that genie on the island and you have to race him to, you know, I mean, it's fun. He's pretty cool. Hello, Fred. And there's the snow place, there's a Dino Valley or whatever it's called. You have water, and I think the best part of this game, the reason I like it so much, is because you don't just race in a race car. You also get to race in a hovercraft or an airplane, and the hovercrafts are really fun. I just like all the water levels, but it's different to have a racing game that you can use other vehicles just besides a race car. So I think that's pretty cool. Number 15 on my list is Yoshi Story, and that's mostly because that game was just so stinking cute. I mean, the music that the Yoshis are always singing, and you get to be different colored Yoshis. And, I mean, it's fun. And the levels are just basically you run through, eat some fruit, and try to get your whole, like, there's these little dots all around the screen, and your goal is just to fill it all up with fruit. So you're just running through levels and killing bad guys with your eggs, and it's mostly because it's a cute game, not because it's difficult. But when you stop moving and the Yoshis are like down, 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 down. It's just cute and adorable, and it's one that I just enjoy to play. Number 14 on my list is Zelda Majora's Mask. I love the Zelda franchise in general. Claude will definitely disagree with that. He hates Zelda. I don't know how, but he hates it. But Majora's Mask is definitely fun. You have 3 days and you're constantly time traveling, collecting all the masks for the crazy mask guy from Ocarina of Time's game. And I mean, it's pretty cool. And I like how the masks are the same masks that you sell in Ocarina of Time for the Happy Mask Shop. But the difference is, that game you could only just wear the masks. This one you actually transform into your character. And it's usually Link impersonating a character that has already died in the game. So he changes into a Goron, he changes into a Zora, a Deku Scrub, and it's a really, really fun game. It's really complicated. It gave me a headache, and at times I would be so mad that I just would have quit. But it was really fun, and I like it. And I will admit, I did not beat it. I watched my brother beat it. I have played it though. I was really close to beating it, and you know, I just got fed up. I was so sick and tired of it. But you know, Zelda's one of those games that really makes your head hurt, you know. But it was fun. I still like it. It's one of my favorites, you know, even if I haven't beaten it. Oops. Number 13 on my list is 007, The World Is Not Enough. It's It's an epic title theme, I know. I mean, I like it almost as much as the original James Bond theme. But The World Is Not Enough was the second 007 game released on the Nintendo 64. And the reason this isn't higher up on my list is because I didn't like the graphics as much as the first game. Like, you could barely make out the characters' faces. You couldn't tell they had eyes. I mean, they were a little blocky, but you know, that's old school 90s graphics for you. It was pretty cool. I like that you can turn on Allibots, robots, whatever you want to call them, and the computer will play them. And they were just so stupid. Like, sometimes you'd be playing and they'd be running to the wall. But we would always play on Explosive with my cousins, and we'd play Capture the Flag, like, non-stop, because, I mean, that is just the best thing. And you play on the bank level where there's the stairs. And my family always thinks I cheat, because I get the Centennial and I sit at the bottom of the stairs underneath in like that little corner, and I aim at the wall, and I'm like the only person that can read the radar, so I know when somebody's coming down the stairs. All I have to do is shoot the wall, and you know, that's how I win. But yeah, I just have fond memories of Kyra coming to visit from Indianapolis, and me, Kyra, reversed Chelsea and Asia, and we would always play Capture the Flag, and Chelsea and Asia always won, because they were upstairs and they could get us, because it sucked being downstairs on the level, because your only ways up are the elevator and the stairs, and they could clearly tell when you're going up one or the other. Versus being upstairs, you can jump off the stairs and get downstairs and get the flag. So, but that was fun. Definitely story mode was fun too. There were a lot of levels. I specifically remember Night of the Jackal, where the level is dark and you cannot shoot anybody. Like, you can only use darts. And you're trying to hide from Gabor and make it to Davidoff's office and get in his car. That level is scary. Like, I'm on the edge of my seat every time I play it, and the music doesn't help any, and you're sneaking around, trying to avoid being caught, using your night vision goggles, and it's a lot of work, but it's worth it, man. And other than that, I would just remember the last level, which is the submarine, which was ridiculous because you're swimming the whole level and you have to find air pockets. The game is ridiculous. But it is definitely fun, and it's definitely one of my favorites. Number 12 on my list is Armyman Sarge's Heroes, and I'm going to put the entire series in that. They released the first Armyman Sarge's Heroes and the second one on the Nintendo 64, but they also released the first one on the PS1 and the second one on the PS2. Clearly, like, here's the PS2 version. But it's fun. You're just a bunch of toy armymen running around, and you're from this fictional world, and you have all these guns. Like, you have machine guns and flamethrowers and grenades, bazookas. It is so much fun. And you just run around and kill people. And you have mission objectives and things you have to do, like escort Grim to the helipad, or find and save Vicky, because she's always getting kidnapped. And the first one was definitely fun, but I hated that it took forever to turn your character around. Like, you're sitting there and they're just like, But the second one definitely had major improvements. It was a lot faster. Auto aim worked so much better. They had more power-ups, like body armor and stuff, which was super, super cool. And Armyman was just amazing. And oh, the second one had better levels, like the dinner table and the refrigerator. There's a level when you're in the wall walking on the pipes, and there's spiders and electrical sockets that'll electrocute you. There's one where you have to blow up a train. And oh, you can't forget the robots and the tanks and the helicopters that you could only destroy with a bazooka. Like, totally unfair. But Armyman was really cool. It had a lot of good storylines, and I just have fond memories of playing. Oh, we played it this Christmas vacation, as a matter of fact, during our Nintendo tournament. And we played, like, the kitchen where you're on the counter and the stove, and somebody always gets stuck in the sink, and you jump off, and I mean, it's just hilarious. It defies all logic that, you know, a toy is running around, but, you know, it's a fun game, and I enjoyed it. Number 11 on my list is Pokemon Stadium. And it's mostly for the minigame mode, not the actual adventure mode. I did play adventure mode, but it was because it took so long that I didn't play it, like, too often. But it was also kind of had that Final Fantasy feel. And don't get me wrong, I love Final Fantasy and I love its storyline, but I couldn't stand that, you know, one character attacking at a time. You have to select your move, then you attack. Select your move, then you attack, rather than just straight out fighting like a lot of other games. Pokemon was kind of like that. When I did play actual battle mode, I used Jinx and Squirtle and Cloyster, and you know, it was fun. I liked it, and I do enjoy the Kids Clubhouse, which was a minigame mode where you had Akon's Hoop Hurl, there was Dig Dig Dig, the Sushi Go Round, whatever that one is with the, I can't think of the Pokemon's name. He's got the long tongue sticking out and he's pink and he's eating all the food, and it was fun. There's just, oh, Clefairy says that was the hardest one because you had to remember which arrow was going which way, but it was a really fun game, and it definitely passes the time, and you know, classic. I loved Pokemon when I was growing up, so having that game was definitely a highlight of, you know, my childhood. Number 10 on my list is Mario Party, and again, I'm going to put all of them that were on the 64 in this one category because Mario Party is the same thing every single game. You go to Adventure Mode, and it's like a giant game board with blue spaces which give you coins, red spaces take away coins. You have Bowser spaces when Bowser basically fucks you over, and you have to get a star from Toad or whoever is holding the star. But Mario Party is fun. They have a lot of mini games that you play, and you know, I get frustrated, especially when I start to lose, especially because they have the Boo Ghost on the board, and your players, everybody else that's playing has the opportunity to take your coins or your stars, and like, we played that over Christmas break, and everybody was stealing from me. I mean, I was already losing, but they were making me lose worse. So, payback, Asia went to the bathroom and she reached Toad to get a star, and so we just said no and didn't give her the star. She still won, but, you know, it was funny. Mario Party, specifically games I remember, there's Hot Rope Jump from the first one, which I suck at. It's like the rope comes around and you have to jump and time it just right, because if somebody gets hit, then they're the ones that lose, and I mean, you can't continue the game. I never make it through all 20 jumps. The third one, I remember you have to swim away from a giant fish. That one is really fun. And I also like in the first one the facelift where Bowser has an ugly picture and you have to move the character's face and it'll be like, but it's really fun. Mario Party just, you know, passes the time, and it's pretty cool. I like it. Number 9 on my list is Battle Tanks Global Assault. I didn't like the first one. First Battle Tanks, you know, graphics were kind of crappy. Didn't like it. I played it, but I didn't like it. But when the second one came out, I loved it. The adventure mode, I mean, it's basically you run around and float around in these tanks. And, you know, I don't even know the real names of any of the tanks except for the Goliath. Like, we nicknamed all the tanks. Like, there's this mini one we call the Kiwi tanks. And then there's one that, like, flips side to side. We call that a rotator. And, you know, we didn't know the names of them when we were kids. So we just gave them our own made-up names. And, you know, it kind of stuck with us. I mean, I'm 21 now. And I still call them Kiwi tanks. And Goliaths we call Chunkies, not Goliaths, Chunkies. But my favorite thing about that is playing Battlelord, which is Queen Lord. You go to all the other competitors' bases, you steal their queen, and then you go back to your home base, and once you have all 4, you win. So it's pretty much like capture the flag. But I have fond memories of setting up bases, like you put a minefield and gun buddies and bouncing betties, and you would basically just set up a trap so when somebody comes to take your queen, they would just blow up and die in the process. The only thing that sucked is that one mine goes off, it destroys everything else. So you basically have to start over each time. But Battle Tanks was a really fun game, and it's still one of my favorites, and I'm probably never going to get over how fun that is. Number 8 on my list is Super Mario 64. Some of you may be wondering why it's not as high up. Well, you know, I guess it's, you know, it wasn't that difficult for me. Well, I mean, it was. When I first started playing, it was really hard for me to beat Bowser because I didn't understand the concept of, you know, twisting the stick and throwing him at a bomb. I would twist him and just throw him off the edge. It was hard. But, I mostly liked Super Mario for its music, especially like Dire Dire Docks, because Dire Dire Docks levels suck, especially the one where you have to aim and shoot at that red pole to get on this ledge. But the levels were fun, and mostly it focused on Mario. The only other characters you see is Bowser and Toad in the wall occasionally, but there's no other classic Mario characters, and it's sad. But it was cool that Mario had the different caps that would do special stuff, like he had his wing cap that helped him fly. There was that metal cap where he turned into Metal Mario. There was another cap where he turned invisible. And, I mean, it was a fun game. There was a lot to do, and Nintendo had this crazy concept with collecting stuff back then. Like this one, you collected stars, but you know, I thought it was fun. I liked collecting. It was a challenge, you trying to figure out where everything was that you needed to collect and how to get it. So, Super Mario. Number 7 on my list is Banjo Kazooie. I love Banjo. It's one of my favorites. I love the music and the gameplay where you're Banjo, who's a bear, and he's got a bird, Kazooie, that's in his backpack, and you talk to this mole named Bottles, and he gives you all these cool moves, like you get to fly, and there's a move where Kazooie carries Banjo on her back, and I always walk like that because it saves some time, because Banjo walks too slow. But it's fun, and they have all kinds of levels like Mumbo's Mountain, Gobi Valley, or Gobi Desert, one or the other, Rusty Bucket Bay, Click Clock Wood, Freezy Peak, Monster Mansion. It was all these fun levels, and oh, Mumbo would turn you into stuff, like there's an anteater, I think he turns you into a snowball, no, that's the second one. But I mean, it's fun. Oh, a pumpkin, it was cute. But it was fun, and again, like I said with Mario, it was the concept of collecting, except Banjo, you collected jigsaw puzzle pieces instead of stars, and it was a lot of fun. It was a very long game. I specifically hated the Click Clock Wood because it was 4 different seasons, and each level, I mean, and then of course there's Gruntilda the Witch, who was the boss, and she was really, really hard to beat in the first one. Especially if you didn't collect like all the musical notes. When you get to the mixing pot at the end, you don't get that special power-up that you need to defeat her, and I mean, it sucked. But Banjo was definitely fun for the gameplay, the music, and the overall experience. It was a pretty cool game. Number 6 on my list is Mario Kart 64. I always use Yoshi. It doesn't matter what Mario game I'm playing, I always use Yoshi. He's my favorite, he's so cute. But Mario Kart is fun. The music is amazing. I mean, compared to Diddy Kong Racing, it's better. You know, I don't know why. Maybe it's characters or overall experience. I think it's better. But you only use a go-kart instead of all the different vehicles that Diddy Kong Racing gives you, which is okay. I mean, it doesn't bother me that much. And you also have, extra mode. You can drive through the levels and they're opposite. I hate the Toad's Turnpike when the cars are coming at you. It is hard to get through that level. Like, sometimes it'll take a maximum of 10 minutes to get through that level when I play with my family, because cars, you're trying to drive and they just run you over, and here comes another car. Let's run you over versus you moving in flow with the traffic. It is a really, really hard level to play. But forward-wise, I love Koopa Troopa Beach, where you go up the ramp and go through the tunnel underneath the waterfall and, you know, get ahead of everybody else that's playing. And Yoshi's Valley has all the potholes where people fall in. I mean, it was just fun. I think I like this Mario Kart better than the Wii because Rainbow Road actually has that star fence around it rather than you just driving out in the middle of nowhere and you just fall off. But it's a very fun game. So, Mario Kart, definitely one of my favorites. Number 5 on my list is Donkey Kong 64. I love that game. And again, concept with collecting things, except in this one it's golden bananas, but Donkey Kong 64 had a lot to it. There were so many different levels. There were 201 I beat the entire games. I know there's 201 golden bananas, but for each level that you went to, whether that's Jungle Jake, Angry Aztec, Frantic Factory, Bloomy Galleon, Fungi Forest, Crystal Caves, Creepy Castle, whatever, all those levels, there are 5 Kongs: DK, Diddy, Tiny, Lanky, and Chunky. All 5 of those Kongs have 5 golden bananas each, so that's 25 golden bananas per level. And they also have 100 colored bananas. Like DK has yellow, Tiny is purple, Diddy is red, Lanky is blue, Chunky is green. And there's also 2 banana fairies, and there's a K. Rool crown somewhere. And I always make it a challenge to find every single thing on every single level. And I did that one time, and I completed it at 201% because if you get all the banana fairies and take Tiny back to see the banana fairy, then they open up this giant wall and you get this humongous banana. So there's actually 201 bananas for those of you who didn't know. And the only problem with this game is there's a glitch with the Gloomy Galleon. Chunky has this balloon that some Nintendos, it'll show up and others it won't. Mine, it does not. So like, when I want to complete the entire game, I can't because Gloomy Galleon Chunky's balloon does not appear. And I got online and looked up the FAQs to try to get the balloon to appear, and it still didn't work. But other than that, the game is really fun. Then of course you got that awesome theme song, DK, Donkey Kong. You can't forget about that. The music's great. The characters are funny, and it's just an amazing adventure. And you cannot forget about the last battle with K. Rool, where each Kong has to battle him. And there's the bosses that the Kongs have to defeat too in between. And it's a complicated but fun game. Mini games, bosses, collecting. What's not to love about that? At least, I mean, I love it. I don't know about you, but. Number 4 on my list is BanjoTooie. I like it a whole lot better than Banjo Kazooie. It's mostly because, again, like I said, I love adventure games, and I love long adventure games that keep me guessing. And BanjoTooie, again, you're collecting Jiggies, but you also have to collect Jinjos, which I did mention in the first game. The first game, there are 5 Jinjos per level, and it's one of each color. This game, I mean, it varies. Sometimes I believe there's like 3 Jinjos per level. But this game is different because the first one you're traveling through Grunty's castle, lair, whatever. This one you're traveling all through Isle of Hags. You leave Spiral Mountain where Banjo lives, and you go to Jinjo Village, to, I'm thinking of all the levels. Wooded Hollow takes you to that place where Mumbo, the first level, Target Zan's Temple. I can't think of the name of it right now. That sucks. Mayhem Temple, that's the name of it. But you're traveling through all these levels. Again, you're collecting 10 Jiggies per level, getting your Jinjos, getting your music notes, there's feathers, and instead of having bottles to help you, you have jam jars who teaches you better moves, like you can use Kazooie as a gun. You swim underwater for an entire level in Jolly Roger's Lagoon because you can breathe. This one introduces Humba Wumba, and she's the one that changes you into stuff instead of Mumbo. And and then she changes you into some cool stuff like a washing machine and a giant snowball and one of those little stonies to play. Yeah, this was the other one. This Banjo had mini games like the kickball challenge and the shooting challenges, packing room challenge. There's Witchy World where you play mini games, and I mean, this game was fun. There was a lot to it. It was a great adventure. It was lengthy, kept me thinking and guessing, and you know, gotta love it. Number 3 on my list is 007 GoldenEye, and I'm really good at that for a girl. You'd be surprised. I'm probably not as good as some of you out there, but when it comes to playing people here at school, I'm the reigning champ for the past 2 years in a row. You can ask Claude. I mean, I'm pretty bogus. I don't play fair. He was hiding in the air vent one day, in the bathroom on the facility, and I threw all these mines up in there, and I watched his screen and saw him come out. I blew that boy out of that vent. Sorry, Claude. But, it was fun. It was a ton of fun. It had cool graphics, cool levels, a lot of good weapons. I like that this one, when you use rocket launchers and stuff, the smoke would actually kill you before the bullet would. But, oh yeah, can't forget about the characters. I always use Natalia. And of course, there's James, Trevor, and Xena. And anybody that uses Oddjob is just automatically a cheater, because Oddjob is short. Just cheating. No matter what you shoot at him, it goes over his head. Like, you have to shoot Oddjob from a good distance in order to kill him. That's what sucked about that game. But, it was definitely fun. I like the music, I like the map, the weapons, story mode, all of that is cool. So, of course, 007 is going to be at the top of my list. That's awesome. Number 2 on my list, some of you may have never even heard of this game, but, Gauntlet Legends is like one of my favorite games on the entire planet. And it's adventuresome. It's like medieval times. It was originally, I want to say Dreamcast was the original releasers of it. But there was one for the Nintendo 64 called Gauntlet Legends, and then the PS2 and the GameCube had Gauntlet Dark Legacy, which was exactly the same as Legends, except they gave you 4 more characters and a couple more realms, because this is basically like an improved version. And then there was Gauntlet Seven Sorrows, which was a terrible game. But Gauntlet Legends was so much fun. I always use Archer, Green Archer. And you run through the levels, you shoot open barrels, open chests, you get gold, weapons, you shoot monsters. As always, you're going through levels, destroying monsters and their generators, hitting switches, grabbing rune stones, defeating the guardians at the end, like the Red Mountain Dragon, the Plague Fiend, the Chimera, the Yeti. all that stuff, and you go into the mirror and you beat Scorn, and he goes back to the underworld, and then you beat 3 more levels before you chase him into the underworld and go after him. And it was fun. But this game also scared me. And it's because of death. He's like this Grim Reaper character, black cape, big green eyes, and he comes out and zaps you. And I think I'm not as afraid of him in the second one because he gives you time to run in the one on the PlayStation. PlayStation had 2 deaths, the red death and the black death. Red one would raise his arms and then go. Black death would raise his arm and then go. Nintendo, that joker popped out of wherever he was and would just immediately chase you. And it didn't help that lightning or thunder sound would strike at the same time, so it would be like, and here he comes, and like chase you. Scared the heck out of me. And I just remember the poison fields in this town of Twinyon or whatever on the game. It's the first level, and me, Chelsea, and Asia, we played one time, and we kept seeing him everywhere. And finally, we're just like, I wonder how many times he's on this level. So we decided to go through the level again and open death and not kill him with a potion. We just wanted to like hurt him and see what would happen. There were, I believe, 6 of them. And they were in a big herd, and we had to nickname them by how fast they were going to keep up with them. And oh, it was scary because like we couldn't get too close to them. But it was fun. Gauntlet is definitely one of my favorite games of all time. It doesn't matter what system it's on. It's an amazing game. Point blank period. And my final game on my list is Zelda Ocarina of Time. Zelda Ocarina of Time is just amazing. It does not have that concept of collecting, thank you Lord, but I mean, it was fun. You go through, you start out as Kid Link, you beat the Deku Tree, get the Kokiri's Emerald, meet Saria in the woods and get your Ocarina, travel to see Zelda, sneak through the courtyard after waking up Talon with the chicken, and, you go on this long adventure. You can collect all 3 spiritual stones, then you pull the Master Sword from the pedestal, you meet Sheik, who's mysterious throughout the whole game. I swear to God, I didn't know it was Zelda when I was younger, but, you have to beat the Forest Temple, the Fire Temple, the Water Temple, the Shadow Temple, and then the Desert Temple. Then you go and defeat Ganondorf, and all is well in the land of Hyrule. But it is a fun game, and I will always love it. Link is just a pretty cool character. I hate that he doesn't talk, though. None of the characters, like, verbally talk. Malin laughs, but that's it. But they have dialogue. Link has, like, none. They talk to him, and it's like he doesn't reply. But it is a fun game. I will always love it. Amazing music, amazing levels, so much fun stuff to do. Like you get your Force Epona, and there's mini games as well, and collecting the Skulltulas, and it's just a fun game. And I don't think there is anything else in this world that is going to be better than that. Not to me, anyway. So those are my top 20 video games of all time, and there were some other ones that could have actually made my list, and some of you may be wondering what those are. Specifically, I remember Tom and Jerry Fists of Fury. That was also for the Nintendo, and I liked it. It was a fighting game, but it was a little violent. You're throwing irons at each other, stabbing each other with forks, but that's, that's Tom and Jerry right there. But it was one of my favorites. Scooby-Doo Classic Creep Capers, it was fun, but because it was scary, not one of my favorites. I could never make it past the first level with that Black Knight. I just could not. Scared the crap out of me. So that could have made my list. Also, Pokemon Snap. I did play it, but it was really a simple game. You're riding around in this little cart taking pictures of all the Pokemon you see. It wasn't, too complicated. So it wasn't one of my favorites. You also have Super Mario Smash Brothers, and some of you may be wondering why it's not one of my favorites. It's because I liked the version for the GameCube and the Nintendo Wii a whole lot better than the 64 version, because mine had a couple of glitches with it, and there weren't as many characters. But I did enjoy the game, and if I would have put it on my list, it would have been like number 21. Because it was fun, but it wasn't as fun as the other ones that were released. Also, Cruising USA. It was just a racing game, but it had fast cars and it was cool. Couldn't stay on the road most of the time, especially in that stupid Redwood Forest, but it wasn't one of my favorites. Also, there was Turok 3, and again, it was mostly because Turok scared me. He scared the crap out of me, but I could play multiplayer mode. I just couldn't play by myself. Then you have Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat I played it, but I did not like the fatalities. I'm not a blood and gore kind of person. So I can't do the heads falling off shoulders, ripping out people's spines, screaming on somebody so that their skin falls off. Mortal Kombat was just gross. And Killer Instinct and War Gods, they were fighting games too, but I mean, they weren't my favorites. They were games I was just forced to play that I enjoyed, but they weren't, you know, favorites. I had an older cousin who only wanted to play those games, so. Then you have Toy Story 2, which is fun. I have it on my computer as well, but that game was fun. A lot of adventures, collecting sheep, and you're basically trying to save Woody, going through all these different levels. I mean, it was fun, but the graphics, that's kind of what, you know, made me change my opinion. They were kind of low. NBA Jam 2000, that's the only sports game that I've ever played and actually liked. But it was fun too. Graphics were a little crappy. I liked how they had Shaq was just this big brick wall running around, but you know, it was okay. And then there was Rampage World Tour. It was okay. But, I mean, you're just giant monsters destroying buildings and eating people. So, oh, and Star Fox. Star Fox is also on my list. It would have been number 22. It's not necessarily one of my favorite, and it's mostly because you can only be Fox. I'm like, I want to be Falco or Peppy. I don't want to just be Fox. I mean, it was really simple, but yeah. So that was my list of top 20 Nintendo 64 games of all time, my favorite, and I also had my extra list of games that I liked but didn't necessarily make the cut. So, what is your top 20 games? I'm really interested. So please leave your comments in the box below and let me know what you thought of the blog in general. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, and also leave me your list of your favorite Nintendo 64 games. If you think there's something I missed, go ahead and put that on there too. I'm just interested to see what you have to say. So, this is me, Kia, signing out. See you at the next vlog, guys. Bye!